Hello viewers, and welcome to another Grid 2 video then, second video since getting hold of the game. And rather than go through the one player at first, because I know many of you are working your way through that, I've been doing some of the single races, just having a look at these, seeing some of the different circuits. Here we are, I'm on the Barcelona circuits. I like this one a lot. I think it's a fantastic track layout. Round turn one then, cutting through these first few cars. You've got to be quite aggressive on the overtakes because first place will just disappear over the horizon. Then we have this long corner. You can see the car drifting there all the way around. You can get that drift just right if you just brake into the corner and then control the acceleration around the outside. Into a tighter braking zone here. Now, I find that the AI tends to brake very heavily on the first part of this. And I'm going to come back to that. The AI I'm finding difficult to follow. I can't follow them closely. They're quite erratic in their driving. Some sections they'll accelerate incredible speed and they won't brake for corners at all. And other corners they'll brake very unexpectedly and you'll just smack straight into the back of them. So it's a very inconsistent AI so far, and generally speaking it's very, very tough to well, it's tough, I say. It's very unpredictable following them closely without having some kind of contact. Staying on the racing line here is important. This is a lift around this corner, but if you hit that curb too hard on the inside it will unbalance the car, throw you onto the outside. Flat out through here, I was lifting a little bit there again, just a little lift maybe there, or flat out through there, just about. Depends on the car you're in, of course. Getting a brake here, it's a high speed corner. That guy there braking way more than he needed to, way more than he was earlier. It is quite strange and unpredictable sometimes. And again here, they all brake very heavily for that corner, so they weren't nearly going at the pace they were on the corners earlier. So it's interesting how the race pace is controlled. Full speed through here. Back end comes out a little bit. Obviously I've got some damage to the car, but now I've got a lot of ground to make up. It's lap 2 of 5. Full speed through here and then braking, trying to get the car in. It goes very wide. I was hoping the back end wouldn't touch the wall every time, but trying to carry as much speed through as possible. Possibly braking a little bit earlier would work for you. Getting into this long corner again. Now I love this circuit. I think this is a really, really nice circuit design. Certainly one of my favourite I've found in the game so far. If there was a real street race around Barcelona, this would be certainly one I would put on the calendar. Absolutely fantastic. Nice wide streets as I'm gaining here on these first two. Going a bit too fast in the second part of that section. I'm trying to keep the car balanced. Don't want to clip that curb too much on the inside because that can take you into that wall and unbalance the car. I take this wider line through a section. There's a tighter line. You can also do that at full speed, but I find this one to be more consistent for me, certainly in this car with its turning. Full speed through here, maybe a little lift if you become unbalanced in that first section. And now the car becomes really light. So it's strange that the handling is curious in this game. It's got some really good elements now and again, and some elements that seem to be a bit light. It's difficult to explain, but I will come back to that, more on that later as I piece together the jigsaw that is Grid 2. The game has a strange feel to it as well. I don't know what it was, but in Grid 1 there was a greater feeling of intensity, that you were in this action and it was all shaking going on around you, very intense. All the cars are very close in the racing, and it doesn't have that atmosphere this time. There's a certain personality that the game doesn't have, which is quite curious, it has to be said. Now, I've seen that since the early builds. It's lacking something, even though there's detail there. Frame rate occasionally stutters a little bit, even on the Xbox version. This game runs amazingly on the PC, it has to be said, but on the Xbox it runs okay. You can get the odd little frame juddering in a few corners here and there. I've also had a crash as well, which needed a hard reset so far. So how many people have had that? I'd be interested to know if you've had that happen on your game. Replays I'm going to come back to in a later video. They're currently very disappointing indeed, it has to be said. You spend much of your time looking through the bumper cam view. The bumper cam view is, for me, unplayably low. It's at the same height as the wheel nuts. Nobody drives from that height. Ridiculous level. I don't know why developers are doing this to bumper cams. It makes them unplayable. I would always play with a bumper cam if it was at driver height. I like that feeling of speed that it gives me. Sometimes I can find the reflections on the bonnet off-putting depending on certain actions on certain corners, and so I like to use the bumper cam if I don't have a cockpit cam available. And it's too low. I can't use it. It's unplayably low for me, and I raised that in an earlier video, and I said the same about Need for Speed Most Wanted. Hopefully on the PC version someone will come out with an option to adjust the field of view, and then that can be adjusted, and I can alter that on a later video. So I've been rambling on while trying to close on first place. Look at the difference in speed to first place. I mean, the field has completely broken up. The cars are miles apart now, and first place is like on another level. I mean, I'm pushing flat out to try and gain on this guy, and he is just bombing round. And the difficulty is so strange in this game. When you put it on a harder difficulty, some of the races are nigh impossible. And when you've got it on medium, some races are really easy, some races are again really, really tough. So this guy here, I'm trying to nail him, but he's just getting away from me. Here we go now, power sliding. I've got to use it again like a boss. Round the outside, and that's 3 times I've abused that saying in 1 week, but it has to be done, doesn't it? That was a great overtake there, and the replay didn't capture that moment, which was a real shame. The replay just was an epic fail and went inside the car, so there's no replay view of that incident. There's no photo cam to take a photograph of it. And it's a shame, you know, we've got all these options missing from the game, but nevertheless, it is good fun here. I'm having good fun on the control pad I'm using. Obviously, I'd look forward to driving this with a wheel when I get my new gaming PC very soon. It will happen soon, viewers, very soon now. By the end of the month, hopefully, I'll have another gaming PC and I'll be testing it out in there, all the different cars, modes, everything else. And I'd like to hear your feedback as well. So I've got the lead now. Now it's just a case of being consistent to the end. Sometimes, you know, games are easier to follow other cars because you can see their lines and everything else, and I don't know the courses that well yet. But this guy's staying right with me. You see, first place is so quick. Or I say first place, he's now in second, but he's so quick. I'm pushing everything to try and get away from him here. Hence the slight touch on the wall. No damage done though. And now just trying to be consistent through his next section to try and pull out a gap.
Your position and you'll win this. It looks like someone spun out ahead of you.
It also says that quite often as well. It looks like someone has spun out and there's nobody spun out at all when you're in the lead, obviously. They could be a lap ahead of you, so certainly seems to be an issue in distance in terms of, or delay perhaps, when that information comes through. So around that corner again. That gives me a little bit of a lead every time through this section. Just what I need, because the CPU cars are quicker on the next section where the road splits. For whatever reason, they just seem to pull away. Very much a rubber band feel to it. So trying to be as quick as I can. Very low grip through this section. Car's very easy to spin the car out. It's tippy-toeing through, and then on the power here, and you see the other car takes the inside. It's much quicker for that car. It always manages to take this end corner flat out, and I've managed to do it with the wireless wheel as well. And there'll be a wireless wheel video to come in the or later today, I believe, as well, which is going to be on the channel. So just a few corners to go into this tricky corner, and a mistake there. The car just completely oversteered for me. Then it was like it got stuck on the wall. It just wouldn't come off the wall. So some serious damage to the car now. It started juddering, leaning to one side, but only a few corners to go. I'm trying to hold the lead. Hang in there. This has been pressure all the way from that guy in second place. He's very quick, but I know I've got these corners. Take it nice and steady now. Don't want to do any damage, and then flat out through the final corner. This has been a race of Barcelona then on grid 2. There'll be more to follow, including a look at the wireless wheel as well. But that's it from me. More soon.